When we last left our, for want of a better word, hero...
The artifact. It can't be gone.
I will forge the undying dragon on your chest.
Master? Me? All dead. I will have revenge.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the point where this game really starts to suck. Hard to believe after that last level, I know, but hear me out. See, it's at this point that the game gives you the ability to run on walls, which would be fine if the game was even remotely competent. Unfortunately, as you might have guessed, it's not, meaning that the wall running aspect is hideously broken, and the reason it's broken is that it's nigh impossible to control. Wall running is an extremely fiddly process, and you'll often end up running all over the place in directions you didn't want to go. I think I do this in a second actually. There we go. The reason for this is that, unlike games such as Prince of Persia and, dare I say it, Enter the Matrix, you don't run along a set path when you start wall running. Instead, you can run in pretty much any direction, which gets massively confusing when you first start doing it. Hell, half the time you won't actually want to run on the wall. It's immensely frustrating and means the platforming, which wasn't exactly great in the first place, becomes nigh impossible in places. You're also given two other abilities in this level. The first is your typical bullet time rip-off, which is essential to playing the game and which you'll be seeing me use constantly as of the next level onwards. The other is the ability to pick up the souls of your fallen foes, which is what I'm doing now, since the game feels a need to dedicate an entire level letting me practice it. Collecting souls allows you to regain health and empowers your slow motion move, along with a few other less useful abilities you gain later on. As I mentioned in my review, I actually quite like this system, since it pretty much forces you to constantly be on the offensive, unlike modern shooters that make you spend large chunks of time hiding behind cover. I just wish this game had given you the ability in the previous level when you actually needed it due to all the combat. Without it, the first proper level of this game is immensely hard to any new players, and it'll probably put a lot of them off. There's not really much else for me to say about this level, apart from the fact that the level design isn't very good. It'd be fine if all I was doing is running around killing dudes, but it's not. I have to hunt down and collect 30 of these souls by jumping around and running on the walls, and it's very badly designed for that. You'd think they'd include a lot of long straight walls for you to practice the whole wall running thing on, but there's really not that many of them. Most of the walls in this section have pillars or decorations sticking out of them, meaning you'll get caught on them all the time. This soul in particular is frustrating me right now, because it's just floating in mid-air and the jumping isn't very good. Ah, there we go. Yeesh, that was annoying. Anyway, there's also the aforementioned problem of jumping onto walls. Sometimes you need to single jump, while others you need to double jump onto, and the game never tells you which it is. So half the time you'll jump into a wall, start running, and then immediately jump off because you happened to press jump twice and didn't realise you only needed to do so the once. You'll probably have noticed that this level has gone on for longer than the previous ones. Well, that's because I'm having to hunt down those lost souls. Personally, I like to think they're the souls of all the beta testers, trapped in limbo for eternity unless you can help them escape this terrible, terrible game. You'd be surprised how satisfying that was, which is something this game is most definitely not. Oddly enough, this level only actually lasts around 4 minutes or so, but it feels like forever. That's kind of what playing this entire game feels like. Hello, Ken, here I have to wall run up a long tall section. That's not going to come back to haunt me later in the game, no sir! Oh, and for the record, I finished this game in about a week, but it felt so much longer than that. I guess Drake isn't the only one using not bullet time. Seriously, this level just drags on, and there's nothing I can say to make it any more interesting. It's just me exploring a very boring level, looking for things I need to pick up. I really can't make that entertaining for you. So let's talk about Drake's coat instead, or as I like to call it, the badly cut cloak with sleeves. The problem with the coat slash cloak slash whatever it is that it's meant to show off Drake's awesome tattoo on his chest, but in order to really do that, the developers decided to have it come to a point on Drake's back, and then make it look like he's just shoved half a towel down the back of his trousers and is letting the other half hang out behind him. I mean, look at it. You can see the sides of his waist from the back. What were they thinking? It looks nothing like a coat, and it most certainly doesn't look badass, which I'm guessing was the whole point of it. Honestly, it just looks ridiculous. Hang on, how many souls have I... Oh, I think I'm nearly there. Hallelujah! Right, well, I guess I better prepare you for the next cutscene. It is by far one of the best, but not for the reasons you think. Seriously, you're gonna love it. Just make sure you're paying attention, okay? Here we go.
The strength of the stolen souls is changing me. Have I become invincible? Nothing can stop me now. Fool!
Obviously, the Undying Dragon does not protect him from his stupidity.
More of this and he'll go from undead to just plain dead.
What is this?
The Serene Garden. Your stop between reality and the afterworld. Better get used to it. You'll keep coming back until you've mastered the way of the dragon.
The legacy. Weren't you supposed to make me invincible?
He disappoints us.
How can I avenge the Master's death?
Make it your priority to feed the Undying Dragon's souls, and you'll have your revenge.
What about the Soul Portal artifact?
Your ghost is about to complete its mission by turning it over to Tang's courier. We'll give you one more chance to reclaim it.
Do not fail this time. Be one with the Undying Dragon, and you'll have its powers.
Tang, Master knew it. How am I supposed to get there?
You will be provided with a new avatar. Use this one with more care than the previous one. Now go.
That was surreal. Like these Diamondbacks. With these guns and the aid of the gods, I'll reclaim the artifact in no time. Time to cap this.
See? Wasn't that just hilarious? Right to his death! Okay, on to this level. The goal here is to chase down the courier, who now has the stolen artifact. Quite why the bad guys felt that the nigh-invincible ghost creature could not be trusted with the priceless artifact he stole in the first place, and instead chose to have a flesh-and-blood person transport it, is beyond me. But I guess that's why I'm not in the video game business. On to the gameplay. I'll be honest here, it's only now, on the 5th level, that the game finally starts getting what I'd hesitantly call playable. There's actual level design beyond bland corridors, and the combat has some element of strategy behind it, so at long last it becomes, well, I wouldn't call it fun, but tolerable? Yeah, we'll go with that. You saw me being cautious there because I knew what was coming. Yeah, if you just run straight ahead, that thing clobbers you. But hey, I do know it's there, so I can avoid it. And almost get hit by another one. Woo! Okay, back to chasing the courier. Now, you can't really tell, but I actually managed to hit him there, which makes him start bleeding. Now, those blood trails are supposed to be what you follow, but it's not exactly essential since the game has these great big bloody arrows everywhere. You'll also notice that I don't directly follow him here. He goes up another floor, but since I've played this level before, I know the path he's going to take, and I basically take a shortcut. That's one of the things about these chase sequences. You don't actually have to follow the guy you're chasing. All you need to do is get to the end of the level. Trust me, that little fact is going to come in handy, especially in the next level. And up to the roof. I'm not a particular fan of this section since it requires precision jumping, and there's precious little of that here. And it also doesn't help that those awnings break if you stay on them for more than a second. But hey, since you're meant to get down to the ground anyway, it's not all that annoying. So we go up these stairs and back inside a bland corridor. Lovely. Oh, this section. Lord knows I hate this section. It makes you do wall running stuff and, well, yeah. So naturally I try and avoid it, but that doesn't go so well. At least I don't have to restart the level. Small mercies. So I tried the actual wall running thing. And guess what? That doesn't work either. Alright, one more time. Now you can probably see what you're meant to do, but I have never once had it go off smoothly. This is probably the closest I ever got, and it's still messed up. Okay, nearly at the end of the level. Just got time to blow up a cab first. Die, taxi! Die! There. And with that, we've finished the level. Lovely.
You can run,
Damn, he's still on me! Hey, open up!
but you can't hide. A fireworks factory is a good place to go if you want to go out with a boom.
You can tell this level is going to suck because you immediately start off facing the wrong direction. This is an amateurish mistake to make and possibly the most perfect example I can think of to show how badly made this game is. Just shoot the receptionist and BOOM! Explosive boxes, baby! Oh yeah, that's how this level rolls! Well, we are in a fireworks factory, I suppose. It was somewhat inevitable. Exploding boxes aside, this is also the first level where I can really properly demonstrate the slow motion ability. As you can see, it leaves a nice green tint around the edges of the screen, which is actually quite distracting. It's also, shock horror, probably the most useful ability you have in the entire game, to the point where it becomes practically unplayable without it. I suppose somewhere in the deepest, darkest depths of the interwebs, someone will crawl out and prove that they've gone through the entire game without using it, but then that person will also be clinically insane, so I don't suppose anybody will particularly care. This is the first of 2 rooms where you'll spend half your time waiting for these somewhat implausible platforms to move up and down of their own volition. Seriously, I looked. There's absolutely no reason for these platforms to be moving. I also can't really see the point to these rooms. Surely a proper lift would be far more useful in an actual fireworks factory, as well as being far less prone to potentially explosive material accidentally falling and detonating on the floor. But then again, I'm no level designer, so what the hell do I know? And for those of you who are curious, I've just picked up a grenade launcher that just happened to be lying around in a fireworks factory. Do you see what I mean about level design? Ah, but that's nothing compared to the level of insanity you're about to see. So, you know that guy you're supposed to be chasing, yeah? I know it's hard to remember since he zooms off so fast, it's nigh impossible to keep track of him, but thankfully the game realises that and puts him somewhere it's pretty hard to miss. Yes, you saw that right. The guy we're supposed to be chasing has got stuck in the level geometry. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that's a one-off. That only ever happens once in a blue moon. No. See, I played through this level a grand total of 3 times, and you know how many times this happened? Twice! This happened 2 out of 3 times! How bad does your game have to suck for something like this being a regular occurrence? Oh, and for the record, the reason I looked at this guy for so long was to make sure I had good footage for my review. Annoyingly enough, I wasn't actually recording the first time this happened. I thought I was, but, well, Fraps is a fickle beast. But yeah, that's definitely the highlight of the level. Mind you, the end of it comes a close second, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Now, I suppose now's as good a time as any to talk about those weapons again. That grenade launcher I picked up was so bloody useless, I immediately switched back to an Uzi. Now, if you recall, I told you that you fired your guns with either mouse button. The thing is, the pistols are not automatic, which basically means for every shot you make, you have to click the mouse button. Now, you could fix this by switching both weapons to automatic rifles, but then those aren't as accurate as your pistols. The solution I found is to have the right mouse button be an automatic rifle, while the left mouse button is a pistol, which I have to repeatedly tap. It's not a perfect system, but I found it worked, so I just stuck with it. Actually, I never told you how to switch weapons, did I? Well, basically, you scroll through them with the middle mouse button, and then you press whichever mouse button you want to wield it with. Keep an eye on the bottom right, I skimmed through them in a second. If I recall correctly, you can also do this to force yourself to reload your current weapon. I see absolutely no reason to do this, since, again, you have infinite ammo, and simply finishing off the clip seems by far the easier method, but it's there nonetheless. We're nearly at the end of the level now, and you'll notice that I take my time going through this final room. Now, the reason for this is actually quite simple. I want to make absolutely certain that there's not a single solitary thing that could possibly go wrong while I'm choosing each and every single bad guy. What do I mean by that? Well, if you'll bear with me emptying out an entire room in slow motion for just a little bit longer, then I promise you'll understand why. Now, make sure you're really paying attention once I get up on that catwalk, because I promise you, I don't do anything while I'm up there. Just remember that.
Again, he disappoints us.
So, this is the envoy of the gods? Who chose him?
You did.
You again. Is this the end?
Hardly. It has just begun.
At least this time you had a colorful exit. We are amused. The courier's name is Wang Chun, and he is working off a debt to Serpent Eye Sun. Fortunately for you, Chun has a weakness. He is a compulsive gambler.
He has stopped at the House of the Dreaming Cloud for a game of electric mahjong on his way to deliver the artifact. He is losing, but there's time for you to get there. He still has his pants.
Once again, fate deals you a winning hand. Free the dreamers of their nightmares and feed the undying dragon their souls. Then reclaim the artifact.
There'll be plenty of time to pursue the ghost that assassinated your master once you're done.
Somehow I doubt I'll ever be done feeding the undying dragon.
This time, you must be more careful. Motivation, that's all there is to it. Again, we will provide you with an avatar. This is starting to drain even our power. Are you ready to turn dreams into nightmares? Now go!
House of the Dreaming Cloud, I'm your wake-up call.